Once again, welcome and thank you very much for being here. An annual visit today, an annual visit with Mary Brock. We have Mary on about once a year to talk about Senior Companion Program and the volunteer program.
Yeah, the Foster Grandparent Program and Senior Companion Program.
Mary, nice to have you back.
Well, it's good to be here, Bob.
I guess the first question might be, in a year, what has changed with your program, mainly?
It's actually, I'm happy to say not a lot has changed with our program. We're still strongly recruiting volunteers for both programs. One of the new initiatives that we're taking on right now with the Foster Grandparent Program is trying to work with Washoe County School District's truancy department. So we're trying to help them with middle school and primarily high school kids, and we're trying to find a couple volunteers that'll go into some of the higher risk schools and make phone calls to homes where kids are not showing up. Then would they maybe work with those kids one-on-one? Is that a possibility? Not really. This is a phone call service, so it's calling the home to see if the child was sick or has a doctor's appointment. We do have the grandparent volunteers in the schools, and they are doing the tutoring and mentoring piece, but these would be specifically for making those phone calls.
How effective, Mary, has that tutoring program been? I know it's been going on for years, too, in Washoe County School District.
Yeah, we've been within Washoe County since the early 1970s, and we're part of a huge service network. I would love to be able to say it's all because of the Foster Grandparent Program that these children meet their academic standards, but it's not just us. We're part of several different groups that go in and try to help these kids meet their academic standards. And the children that we're really working with, they're designated by their teachers and their school counselors, and they're kids that are not meeting academic standards. Some of them might have English as a second language. Some of them have parents that work 2 and 3 jobs, so they don't have the reading going on at home or help at home with math and things like that. So the volunteers will meet with these kids, and when they get to a certain level, they'll move on to another child or group of children.
What kind of a bond are they able to forge with each other? I would imagine emotionally they get very attached to some of them, right?
Yeah, especially the younger ones, the elementary age kids get very attached to their grandparent volunteers. I mean, they'll often see them at stores or at restaurants when they're not in school, and they'll run up and give them hugs and say, "Hi, Grandpa Joe," or "Grandma May." And it's kind of a fun thing. It's a treat for the volunteers as well as the little children.
How did that program get started, Mary?
From what I understand, it goes back to actually the Nixon administration. They wanted to see about pairing senior volunteers, at first helping other seniors in the community, and this was in the Northeast. And that's where the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program kicked off. And then the Senior Companion Program and the Foster Grandparent Program were offshoots of that because it was so successful, using people that were 55, at that time it was 60 years and older, to go out and address community issues and it was using a strong volunteer force out there. And so it's been moving strong ever since, and we want to keep it that way.
So are they still receiving, the people that are on a volunteer basis get a small stipend?
Yeah, for the Foster Grandparent and Senior Companion Programs, we do target lower income senior volunteers. So what the lower income mark is 200% of poverty guidelines, and then what they receive is a stipend to offset that cost of volunteering. And oftentimes that stipend will help them pay for prescription medications or groceries or rent, whatever it may be. Because there are a lot of folks out there that really did count on Social Security being their retirement,
right? Yeah.
And it just hasn't worked out that way.
Has your funding improved at all, or is it about the same?
We've remained about the same. With the sequestration going on right now with the federal government, the federal funds that we have for both programs were cut about 4%. And we actually consider ourselves very fortunate. It could have been much worse than that. State funding has remained the same, but we haven't found out yet what our state funding is for the new fiscal year starting on July 1st. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
We've talked a little bit about the grandparents program. Let's talk about senior volunteers. They go into somebody's home, and the idea is they work with that person and maybe take them out for grocery shop. What happens there?
Yeah, the Senior Companion Program, the primary purpose of that is to provide socialization, friendly socialization. And these volunteers are assigned to a person in our community, another senior in our community, who ideally is living alone. And we want to keep them that way. We want to help them maintain their independence. So that volunteer will go in and they'll visit with them. They might help them pay bills. They may take them to the grocery store if that's workable, or doctor's appointments. One of the things that we really do try to do is help them access other services like home delivered meals, for instance. Farmers market coupon books were something that were just recently doled out and distributed. So we're part of that process as well, helping them with RTC access. So we try to really help them access other services to help them stay home.
Is the farmer's market coupon book just a percentage off, or is it totally pay for something if they go?
It's a coupon book is worth $30.
Okay.
So they have $30 worth of coupons that they can use throughout the summer all at once. And the idea is to get them access to fresh fruits and veggies.
And sometimes just the atmosphere is a little bit better instead of just going to your supermarket where you go to all the time. Getting out in the fresh air, and I know they have these things in huge parking lots all over town, I guess.
Yeah, they have quite a few of them. I know that they have one in Sparks on Tuesdays, which is a very popular one. It's at Methodist Church, I believe. And then there's one on California and Booth Street on Saturdays from like 9 to 1 or 9 to 2 that's very popular. Tamarack Junction has one. There's one at the Summit at Sierra. So, I mean, they seem to be expanding out.
They're very popular now. They really are, yeah. What about securing volunteers? And we've talked about that before. Do you have a problem doing that? Do you have an overflow list, or how does that work?
We are actively recruiting volunteers for both programs. With our foster grandparent program, it's a continual process. With the senior companion program, a lot of it depends on funding. We don't have as much turnover with that program. So based on how much funding we have determines how many volunteers we can bring in. And right now we really do need to bring in some volunteers for that program. It's one of those things where people, they move, they age out, they're not able to volunteer anymore. They have health issues of their own that come up. And so we hit waves of that periodically, and we've experienced that with the senior companion program.
So how do people contact you and find out more about becoming a volunteer?
Well, they can call our office. We have 2 volunteer coordinators. The one for the senior companion program, her name is Mary Moeller, and she can be reached at 775-358-2322. And then for the foster grandparent program, we have Sherry Brown, and she can be reached by calling 775-358-2768.
Do they go through any kind of a training program?
Yeah, they have to go through a training program. It's pretty rigorous. We have background checks that have to be conducted. It's federal and state. We do cover the cost of that. They have a physical just to make sure that they're physically able to either go into schools or go visit people in their homes, make sure there's no issues going on there. And then we have an orientation process, which ideally is up to 40 hours of training with us and on-site training, which is usually shadowing with another volunteer.
What would you say the average age of your volunteers are?
About 72, 73 years old.
Really? And a lot of professional people that have been professionally in business or own their own businesses come from all walks of life?
All walks of life. We tend to have quite a few from the service industry, people that worked in gaming establishments in town, so we have a lot of that. Some are stay-at-home moms. We have former educators. We have a fantastic male volunteer over at Reed High School, and he tutors in physics and algebra. Very, very intelligent man, but they do come from all different backgrounds.
Is he tutoring the seniors in physics and algebra?
Yeah, the high school kids.
Oh, the high school kids. Yeah. All right, not the people.
No, not the people. The high school kids.
I was going to say, at my age, I'm not interested in. I didn't learn it earlier. I'm not interested in learning it now.
No, me neither.
No. Well, what's the future of your program, and what are some of your immediate needs? Do you think? Where do you see the program going?
As with many nonprofits, we really do want to establish, a strong monetary base to support it for a long period of time if federal funding or state funding gets cut. I think, again, like many other nonprofits too, we have to be able to respond to what needs are out there because things change.
Yeah, right.
Society changes, and we have to react and respond to that, and we have to be open to that change, and what the trends may or may not be. And so I think just keeping our eyes open, and I'm hoping to learn some new things this week by going to Washington, D.C.
Big conference.
Yeah, big conference there.
Well, geography. I mean, are you helping people in Churchill County, as an example, Fallon?
Well, yes, we have volunteers in Douglas County, Carson City, Churchill, and Lyon County, and Washoe.
Is there a comparative program in Southern Nevada?
Yes, it's managed out of the Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada. But they have the Senior Companion, Foster Grandparent, and Retired and Senior Volunteer program, all housed under Catholic.
Again, Mary, give us the info, and can they get online and reach you? Give us the phone numbers and the online reference.
All right, the Senior Companion program is 775-358-2322. The Foster Grandparent program is 775-358-2768. And our website is www.nnelf.com.
And your offices are still over in Sparks, I imagine.
Yes, we're on Gregg Street in Sparks.
And people can drop in and find out more in person, I would assume.
Yeah, they can drop in. It's usually easier because
It's
we're a
easier to make
small
the call.
staff, and it's like with both of our coordinators, volunteer coordinators, are making site visits or going to meetings, so it's a lot easier to call. But you're always welcome to stop in.
And you're off soon to your conference in Washington, D.C.
Yes, we're leaving tomorrow, and it's a huge volunteer. It's a Points of Light conference in Washington, D.C., so there'll be several thousand people there, and it's hopefully we're going to learn some new things. And
Please tell the administration not to cut Medicare or Social Security or anything like that. I know you'll be probably talking to the president one-on-one, because I know the kind of person you are. You're an in-the-face kind of person.
Right. Yes, actually, we're going to the constituents breakfast on Thursday, so maybe we'll see Senator Reid.
Yeah, good. And he's been a good champion, I think, for seniors in this area. Mary, as always, nice to have you here. We'll hope to see you again in a year, and we'll do the yearly update and the annual report on the many events that you are involved with. And thank you very much for being here today.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it. Mary Brock. I'm Bob Carroll. Thanks for watching, and please join us next time.